2 years ago, we saw TCU capture the Phillips 66 Big 12 Baseball Championship on Fox Sports 1. This season, the Horned Frogs are playing like champions again, leading the conference in hitting and second in pitching. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma Sooners bats have ignited, led recently by National Player of the Week Hunter Haley. The Sooners and Horned Frogs meet tonight in the gateway to the West, Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome to Fort Worth, Texas and Lupton Stadium. On FS1 today, the Oklahoma Sooners meet the number 11 TCU Horned Frogs. A matchup featuring 3 of the top 6 hitters in the Big 12, led by scorching hot Elliot Barzilli of TCU. And welcome to Fort Worth. Dave Barnett along with Pat Combs. Oklahoma getting a TCU team that has made the last 2 College World Series and fully expects to get back to Omaha again this year.
Well, no doubt, Barnett. It looks like Jim Schlossnagle has not had to rebuild at all. He's just reloaded with some talented freshmen and a great pitching staff. Again, they look to be the real deal.
This is a chance to see arguably the 2 best two-way players today in all of college baseball.
Well, no doubt. And Sheldon Noisy and Luken Baker may go down as maybe 2 of the best two-way players in college baseball history. Luken Baker came to TCU as the much-heralded 2015 Gatorade National High School Player of the Year, and he has performed beyond expectations on the mound and at the plate as he leads the TCU Horned Frogs. And for Oklahoma, Sheldon Noisy ranks near the top of the Big 12 in most offensive categories. He's also posted 4 saves. You may very well see him move from shortstop to the mound to close this game late if OU's ahead.
Beautiful spring evening in Fort Worth. That's the only way to describe it. 73 degrees, a little breeze coming in from left field. And tough to leave the yard today for the first of this 3-game series between the Sooners and the number 11 ranked Horned Frogs of TCU. Oklahoma leading off with the third baseman, freshman Cade Harris. He'll be followed by the center fielder Ben Hollis. And then Sheldon Noisy, who fills about as many roles as is possible in college baseball, followed by Flansburgh, O'Brien, Hunter Haley, the National Player of the Week. Took a while to get going this senior year, but he is now, followed by Alex Wise, Steele Walker, and Dominic Renzo, the freshman catcher. And they will face the freshman from Spring, Texas, last year's Gatorade National High School Player of the Year, 6'4", 265-pound Thor, or as he's known here, Luken Baker.
He is a beast at the plate and certainly on the mound. And you're taking a look at the size and strength of Luken Baker. And Kirk Saarloos has been able to get him to buy into a 2-seam fastball that has really made him a much better pitcher. Coming out of high school, he was a traditional 4-seam fastball slider type pitcher. And now he is becoming a more complete pitcher by going to that 2-seamer. But you'll see a fastball tonight about 90 to 93. Hard slider, good sharp break to it. And he's now added a changeup as an additional weapon. And he is something else. Dynamite freshman pitcher.
Defensively, the Horned Frogs ranking 4th in the Big 12 with an outfield of Josh Watson, Dane Steinhagen, Austin Wade, an infield of Barzilli, Ryan Merrill, Cam Warner from Canberra, Australia, and Connor Wanhanen at first with sophomore Evan Skoug behind the plate. Oklahoma, winners of 2 straight, 7 of their last 9. They had a 5-city, 10-game, 15-day road trip that ended a couple of weeks ago. Returned home to take 2 out of 3 against Texas. Beat Wichita State Tuesday, 15-7 with an 8-run third inning. First of a 4-game road swing following a 7-game homestand. And Baker delivers a strike with Jeff Hendricks calling balls and strikes. Greg Harmon umpiring at first. Kelly Nutt at second and Doyle Suter at third. And chopped off the glove of Baker. And easy for Harris to beat that one out for an infield hit.
Yeah, Yeah, just a tapper back to the mound here. You see Luken Baker extend. Just couldn't quite get to it. Almost looked like he mistimed his jump. Cam Warner not able to get it to the ball in time, and lead off single. That'll go down as a single for Cade Harris.
So Harris aboard for the center fielder Ben Hollis. At 2:59. 5 runs batted in, and he looks at a first pitch strike. Junior from Longview, Texas, and Hill Junior College, where Hollis played with Cam Warner out at second base for TCU. Pete Hughes says their best defensive outfielder. Very much a calming presence. And the only play available at first, so Hollis advancing Harris into scoring position with 1 out in the first.
Yeah, nice sack bunt by Hollis there. He handles the bat really well, and a good situational type hitter, and lays down a perfect sack bunt there. See the first baseman Connor Wanahan coming in to take the play, and calls off the big pitcher Luken Baker.
Now here is Sheldon Noisy at 385. 6 homers, 24 runs batted in. He's third in the Big 12 in that batting average, and ranked in rank. Third in hits, walks, fourth in on-base percentage, second in slugging, first in the league in total bases. Triples, fifth nationally with 5 triples. And 4 saves, which is second in the Big 12.
Not as complete a player as you can find in college baseball in Sheldon Noisy. And he's also got a lot of pop and can run. I love what Pete Hughes, his manager, talks about in terms of him being a shortstop at this level and being at times doubted on his defense because of his size. And Pete says, I've hit him thousands of ground balls. He can play shortstop at the next level.
Out in front on that pitch, and it's 1-2. Noisy coming home to Fort Worth, product of Fossil Ridge High School nearby Keller, Texas. And with his expert eye, lets that one go by, and it's 2-2.
And you see the good arm side movement off of the hand of Luken Baker. That's a sinking fastball. And again, we talked about the 2-seam fastball has made such a difference in his repertoire, and good sinking action in that last one.
Noisy running to count full. Luken Baker making his 9th start. 2-1. He's third in the league with an ERA of 1.79. Frogs are 5-3 in his first 8 starts. And he gets Noisy swinging for out number 2.
And Luken Baker drops in a nasty slider, and you see this freshman on the mound doesn't pitch much like a freshman. You've got Sheldon Noisy, one of the top hitters in college baseball, with a runner in scoring position at second base, and Luken Baker doesn't back down at all. Throws the slider on the outside corner, gets Noisy swinging, but goes right after the number 3 hole hitter and produces a strikeout.
So 2 outs with Harris in second. Here is Jack Flansburgh, playing second for the Sooners tonight. And down at third, they appeal, and Doyle Suter says he held up. Flansburgh at 286. An amazing eye, leads the league with 28 walks. In there for a strike. Flansburgh out of Orange, California, and Cypress College, who has started at all 4 infield positions this year.
And he's also got a lot of pop as well. We saw him hit a 3-run homer against University of Texas a couple of weeks ago. Gave them a 3-0 lead at the Sooners in the first inning, and that proved to be the difference maker in the game. And Flansburgh, a lot of power in his bat.
Well, Baker now strike away from working around the infield hit by Harris. Just missed. ever so slightly wide. 2-2.
Yeah, so close, Barney. You know, it's really impressive about Luken Baker on the mound is just his fearlessness in terms of pitching. He's going after number 4 hitter Flansburgh with first base open. Of course, works ahead of him. It's just that fearless approach.
Little dribble foul. Flansburgh still alive. Well, think of what Luken Baker is doing. Freshman, brand new to college, the Friday night starter, and, by the way, in the lineup, hitting cleanup.
That's all.
And he's handling that okay, too. He's .336 on the year. He's second in the league in runs batted in.
Well, that's just an extreme amount of trust from Jim Schlossnagle and Kirk Saarloos, the pitching coach for TCU, and handing the ball to their Friday night starter, Luken Baker, who really stepped into a situation with, we'll talk about this a little bit more too, Barn, and losing Mitchell Traver for up to this point this season.
Flansburgh caught looking, back-to-back strikeouts for Luken Baker to end the top of the first.
Well, how about this slider? Just nicks the outside corner, and that is a freshman turning it on with runners in scoring position.
Horned Frogs coming to bat. Nothing for the Sooners, and now TCU leading the Big 12 with a team average of .312 and 8.1 runs per game with this lineup, beginning with Austin Wade, the right fielder at .344. Cam Warner, the Aussie, batting second and playing second. Evan Scout behind the plate, and Luken Baker pitching and batting cleanup with a .336 average and the 32 runs batted in. Elliot Barzilli, number 1 hitter in the league, 8th nationally at .436. Watson, Wanahanan, Steinhagen, and Merrill, all to face another freshman starter out of Westminster, Colorado, Ryan Madden.
Well, Barn, you and I both know that pitchers are the smartest athletes on the field. And Ryan Madden, how about this? A 34 on his ACT, so a pretty cerebral kid out there pitching for OU. And he got drafted 35th round last year by the Colorado Rockies. Passed up the draft to come pitch for Oklahoma. He is quite a story. You'll see a fastball 90-94, got a plus changeup, a slider that he's working on, but a very deceptive motion. And that motion allows for that fastball to really jump on a hitter. It gets there a little quicker than what they're expecting.
So Wade settles in and takes a strike. Austin, sophomore from Midland, Texas. A real success story in college baseball this year. He had no reason to think he would maybe ever get an opportunity to play on an everyday basis at TCU. Some injuries happened. He stepped in, and Jim Schlossnagle says now there's no way to take him out of the lineup.
Yeah, with Austin Wade, you know, we talked about Bill Mosiello, the hitting coach for the Horned Frogs. He said there's been no surprises in this lineup. All the players in the TCU hitting lineup have done what they expected, except for Austin Wade, who's been the big surprise for him.
Sinking as Hunter Haley comes on and has to take it on the short hop. And a leadoff single for Wade. Oklahoma leads the Big 12 in team defense, 14th nationally, with Haley in the outfield with Hollis and Alex Wise, the infield with Harris, Doisy, Flansburgh, and Austin O'Brien. Freshman battery, Madden throwing to Dominic DiRenzo. And Wade aboard for Cam Warner. JUCO from Hill Junior College in Central Texas. But originally from Canberra, Australia.
Well, the all-freshman battery for Oklahoma with Ryan Madden pitching to Dominic DiRenzo.
And there goes Wade off with the pitch and chased into foul territory and dropped by Alex Wise. Almost able to hang on to a sliding grab. One eye on the wall.
Check on the replay here. The ball slicing away from Alex Wise. It looked like he was kind of drifting towards the ball instead of getting after it. We haven't talked much about the wind, but the wind's blowing in pretty hard from left field towards that right field foul line. About 15 to 20 miles an hour. Very unusual here for this TCU ballpark. Blowing in from the east, and Alex Wise just misplaying that ball that really should have been caught.
Extra life for Warner. Wade not going. And a ball and a strike.
A good breaking ball early on there from Madden, the first slider we've seen, and that's going to be a key pitch for him to get over for strikes tonight. We talked about the good fastball. He'll sit 90-94 with him. A good arm side movement, good sink, just like we saw with Luken Baker, the pitcher for TCU. Two freshman pitchers with good hard fastballs and sink to it. Matt needs to get that soft stuff over as well.
Ryan Madden making just his 3rd collegiate start, but his 9th appearance. Last Saturday on the losing end of a 6-1 decision to Baylor, lasted just 2 1/3 innings, 3 runs on 6 hits. His first collegiate start, a 5-3 loss April 2nd to Texas, 5 1/3. In that battle in Norman, 5 runs, 4 earned, 5 hits, and walked 3, struck out 2. He allowed 4 first-inning runs and then settled down and only gave up 1 over his final 4 1/3 against the Longhorns. 3rd collegiate start.
Yeah, good running count here. TCU does like to run. See if Austin Wade has any thoughts of doing that here.
5 out of 6 when he does take off. TCU as a team has a phenomenal stolen base success rate. 46 out of 51 attempts. As Warner down on strikes for the first out.
A well spotted fastball there by Madden. Catches the outside corner. Looked like Cam Warner was trying to cheat a little bit. You saw him bear that fastball in on his hands previous pitch, and this one looks like a slider away. It's Warner swinging through it, but it was that fastball on the inside that really set that pitch up.
1 gone. That'll bring up the sophomore catcher Evan Scow out of Libertyville, Illinois. Cleanup hitter as a freshman. Number 3 hole this year. He's a freshman All-America selection last year. Led the Frogs with 7 homers, 46 runs batted in.
Yeah, Bart, going back to that stolen base ratio with TCU, 46 of 50. That's just an obscene number when you think of stolen bases. Only 5 base runners been thrown out by the opposition with TCU. That's unbelievable. I've never seen a stat like that in the stolen base category.
Well, as we know, Jim Schlossnagle does not like the bunt.
That's right.
Doesn't like to give up those outs. They have been officially credited with 6 sacrifices. And he says we never sacrifice. Every bunt, we're trying for a hit.
He doesn't like to give up outs, and he's built this offense around the team's speed and contact hitting, and that's what Bill Mosiello, the hitting coach, talked about. He likes hitters that can do things situationally and handle the bat well. And that's been a huge challenge for this offense, and they've risen up to it.
And they're 1-1 to Scow. Just for comparison's sake, so you have TCU at the bottom of the Big 12, 6 sacrifices. Next fewest is 20 for Texas Tech. The top 2 teams in the standings, coincidentally. And 1-2 to Scow.
And Evan Scow, just a beautiful swing. Not many better left-handed swings in college baseball. You see, he's got a good compact body and a very short swing. He is one of the toughest college hitters to get out just because he's so plate disciplined. And very difficult to pitch to smaller guys in stature, but especially with a short swing like Evan Scow has. A lot of pop in that bat as well.
Waiting, finally gets the 1-2 pitch, and it misses wide. Jim Schlossnagle says this is the most balanced offense he's had at TCU. Right-handed, left-handed, 1 through 9, a threat in every spot. Top 5 hitters in this lineup all are 308 or better. Foul tipped with Barzilli at 436. And then it's not like there's a gigantic hole after the top 5. The lowest average is Josh Watson at 267. No easy outs.
No easy outs, Barney. Look at this bottom third of this lineup with Connor Wanhon and Dane Steinhagen. Those are 2 hitters that could easily be batting 3 and 4 in other lineups in college baseball.
Oklahoma a chance to get to 500 in the Big 12. They're tied for 6th. 4 and 5 coming in. There are 5 teams out of the 9 that play, either 4 and 5 or 5 and 4. This is deep and gone. run to right field off the bat of Evan Scoug, his 6th home run of the year, and it's 2-0 Frogs.
Well, we just talked about the nice compact swing of Evan Scoug, and how about a 2-strike home run off the bat of Scoug here in the first inning to give the Frogs the 2-0 lead. A high fastball offering, and looked like Madden was trying to go away with the pitch. Ball catches way too much of the plate for the 2-strike pitch, and Scoug makes it pay for it. Driven deep into the ballpark and right, and that lights up the Horned Frog fans.
Scoug, who led the Frogs, as we said last year, with 7. That is 6 already this year, and the 29th for the team. Another category where the Frogs are at the top of the list in the Big 12. Strike one to Luken Baker, who with 32 RBIs, 2nd in the Big 12. Also unusual for a freshman to have the sense of the strike zone and the patience that he has. But he's 5th in walks, 7th in on-base percentage in the league.
Yeah, a very disciplined hitter for a big 4-hole hitter like Luken Baker, and he does. He makes pitchers work.
This one he chops to Noisy for out number 2. Evan Scoug.
Well, no help by the wind in that with that swing, and the Horned Frog fans still packing it in here. It's them excited in the first inning.
Here is Elliot Barzilli. You talk about success stories in college baseball. He might be the biggest this year. Transferred from Georgia Tech, where he was a 200 hitter. He is at 436, tops in the league, 8th nationally. And this will be a tough play for Cade Harris at 3rd, but he guns him down. But the Frogs jump out on a 2-run first inning blast by Evan Scoug. A no-doubter to right field. 2-0 TCU after 1 on the Scoug blast. As the sun sets in Fort Worth, Big 12 weekly award winners include Michael Davis, sophomore second baseman for Texas Tech from Lubbock, player of the week. Dalton Horton of the Horned Frogs, freshman left-hander, pitcher of the week. For a week including a 5-0 victory last Saturday against Kansas, and Kyle Gray of West Virginia, the freshman of the week in the Big 12. So here's Austin O'Brien, junior first baseman from Owasso, Oklahoma. And that one chased by Barzilli, who makes the over-the-shoulder catch look easy for the first out.
Austin O'Brien gets tied up on this fastball inside and gets jammed. Not easy to pick up off the bat, but watch how Barzilli attacks this ball. Nice first step. Nice hop at the beginning on his toes, and it's a nice over-the-shoulder catch. Easily done by the third baseman.
Baker pours strike one in on Hunter Haley, the senior from Nacogdoches, Texas. And the reigning Louisville Slugger National Player of the Week. 5 games last week. He had 473, 3 homers, 13 runs batted in.
Yeah, absolutely on fire here, Barn, and it's a big addition to this OU lineup. They've been waiting for Haley to really catch fire, and as Pete Hughes, the Oklahoma Sooner head coach, says, you know, we've really needed our seniors and our juniors to step up and not make it so difficult for the young freshmen that they have in their lineup. And Hunter Haley getting hot here now late in this season, but middle of a Big 12 conference play, and they sure need that from him.
Other than that performance last week, he has 1 homer and 11 runs batted in for the whole season. So it came back to him all at once.
Yeah, he's a high energy guy and really had high expectations coming into the season, and you know, he struggled early, and Pete Hughes said, you know, you see that in seniors. You typically don't think they're going to press, but for Hunter Haley, he just started pressing a bit. Pete says it's nice to see him relax now, start to really let go, get those hands to the zone, and get a nice quick swing, and he's a strong hitter as well.
Baker pouring in a couple of 93-mile-an-hour fastballs. Last 2 pitches to Haley. And another 2-2 pitch popped up on the left side, and again Barzilli drifts into foul ground. He's got both the outs here in the top of the second.
Barzilli's getting a little greedy here early on, and a couple of pop-ups easily handled. And just good pitches from Luken Baker to start this game. He's working both sides of the plate with his fastball. That's one of the keys for him, being able to control and spot up. We talked about him not being overpowering, low 90s. It looks like tonight he got a little bit better fastball than he's had in his previous 2 starts.
First ball hitting is Alex Wise. Right fielder at 287 with a homer and 9 runs batted in. Another senior. He's from Neosho, Missouri, out of northeastern Oklahoma. Off the fist, backhanded by Merrill. And the throw pulling Wanhanen off the bag, and Wise is aboard with 2 outs.
Yeah, another fastball off the hands of an OU Sooner hitter in Alex Wise, and shortstop Ryan Merrill just gets this stuck in his glove, doesn't get a good handle on the ball. Instead of trying to throw one wildly, you see him double clutch here, just didn't have a good handle on it, and that cost him the out. So it would have been an easy 1-2-3 inning for Baker. Instead, Wise becomes the first base runner this inning.
So on the E6, Steele Walker, DH. And the runner goes, and the throw way behind Merrill at the bag. And Alex Wise gets himself into scoring position with 2 outs.
Yeah, it looked like Alex Wise was on a delayed steal here. Sure was. Even Scout not making a good throw there. Caught him by surprise. Ryan Merrill got to the bag late. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. Well executed delayed steal by Wise.
His 3rd in 5 attempts this year. Talked about what TCU does on the base paths. They don't allow many stolen bases. That's just the 21st they've allowed in 36 tries.
Whenever you see a delayed steal like that, especially early in a series, that's something that the OU Sooner coaches picked up on in film. They saw the catcher not responding well after pitches, or it could be the middle infielders dropping their heads. But that was definitely something that Pete Hughes and his staff picked up that they felt like they could execute, especially early in this series.
Pete Hughes in his 3rd year after coming over from 7 years at Virginia Tech, where he was twice Big East Coach of the Year. 3-1 to Walker.
Well, mentally, Luken Baker's got to get himself refocused here. He made good pitches. You had the ground ball that should have been the 3rd out. Oftentimes, as the pitcher, you just start to walk towards the dugout thinking you're out of the inning. And
this one is ripped to the gap and headed to the wall. First ball out of the infield for the Sooners off Luken Baker. Brings Wise home. It's a 2-out RBI double for Steele Walker, and the Sooners are on the board.
Nice job of hitting by Steele Walker, the freshman from OU. It's a 3-1 fastball. He was down in the zone, but again, was guessing fastball, sat on it. Gets the pitch he was looking for, drives it into the gap, and again, you go back to the mental error. And really, Luken Baker possibly thinking the inning was over on that ground ball to shortstop Ryan Merrill. Gets behind in the count to Walker. Walker able to connect on that double.
Strike 1 to the catcher, Dominic DiRenzo, freshman from Pittsburgh. He was City's Player of the Year last year, hit .450. 4A state champions, drafted by the Cubs in the 40th round. Blocked nicely by Scout. That's 1-1.
A nice block by Evan Scoug. That was not an easy pitch to block. That ball was actually out, looked like near in front of the plate. It was right in a batter's box, but that was about a 58-footer. That'll test a catcher, and nicely done by Evan Scoug.
Another factor, Pat, is the extra pitches that Baker's having to throw here. They want him to go 5-6 innings. He's not gone longer than 6 yet this year. 70 to 80 pitches. He's already halfway to 70.
Well, that's it, Barn, and they do want to keep those pitch counts low. His previous 2 starts, he had 61 and 81 pitches. It's good, not from the standpoint of getting him out of the game. They want to preserve him and keep him fresh for the season. He's also one of their top hitters in that 4-hole, so they try to keep him fresh through the weekend. But it goes back to TCU's bullpen being so strong as well. They can turn that game over to their bullpen in the 5th and 6th inning, and they've been very successful with that type of setup here on these Friday night conference games.
Nails down the outside corner at 91 miles an hour to even the count up to Lorenzo now at 2-2. At least a dozen or so extra pitches after the error by Merrill. And this one deep toward the corner, a fair ball. Walker headed home on another 2-out RBI double, and Dominic Lorenzo has tied the game at 2.
How about the hitting display by these Oklahoma Sooners, taking advantage of a mistake by TCU. And now 2 runs off what seemingly could have been the inning over. Again, these hitters battling well. A 2-strike slider, not a bad pitch by Luken Baker, and Lorenzo out in front of it, but drags those hands far long enough in the zone to make contact and gets the double RBI. Now 2 RBI doubles with 2 outs.
And back to the top of the order in Cade Harris, who sent an infield single to begin the game. Freshman getting it done. Walker and Lorenzo. Back-to-back 2-out RBI doubles. A very young Oklahoma team that has started at least 3 freshmen most of the season, as many as 6 freshmen in the starting lineup against Wichita State.
Now TCU had a tough 9-1 loss on Tuesday night against Dallas Baptist here in this ballpark, and Barney was very similar in the 8th inning. It was just kind of a meltdown, a couple of errors and a couple of hit batters and a couple of home runs, and all of a sudden it was a 2-1 game that turned into 9-1 within about 10 minutes.
And with that, 8-run 7th inning. Horned Frogs come in having lost 3 of their last 5. That is an unusual dip for them. Still 1-2 to Harris.
Now, TCU's been so good defensively and on the mound this year, and you're right, you don't typically see those type of meltdowns by this Horned Frog team, and a little bit of a chink in the armor here this past week, as you mentioned, losing 3 out of 4.
Right back to Baker, and he'll handle it this time. Couple of 2-out unearned runs come across for the Sooners in the 2nd inning to tie it at 2. Bottom of the 2nd and 2-2 now here at TCU, which is 2nd to Texas Tech. Picked 5th in the coaches preseason poll, and the Red Raiders top 10 nationally now, and 11-1 with a 10-game Big 12 win streak, tied for the 5th longest single-season win streak in the history of the conference. Just the 6th team since 2000 to win 10 or more consecutive in the Big 12. And that big bunch in the middle, 5-4 Texas, 4-4 West Virginia, 3 teams including Oklahoma at 4-5.
Yeah, it's so impressive about the Red Raiders, Barn, as you look at the 2 starting freshman pitchers tonight, Ryan Madden and Luken Baker. Well, Texas Tech starts 3 freshmen successively. Unbelievably impressive at 11-1.
26-9 overall. Now a top 10 program. Here's Josh Watson, left fielder. Switch hitting freshman from Arlington, Texas. 267 with a team leading 7 home runs, and that's tied for 2nd in the conference.
And one of the lowest batting averages in the TCU lineup, but boy, Bill Mosiello loves this young player, Josh Watson. He says he's very special. He's going to be something else here at TCU.
And Watson ripping a leadoff single to right to begin the TCU 2nd.
A nice short compact swing, and we talk about Evan Scout's swing, and Josh Watson's very similar. Not a very large player in terms of size. That nice short compact swing, boy, really tough hitters to pitch to. Ask any pitcher about those short swings and they'll tell you those are typically the hardest guys to get out.
Watson not one to run much, 2 for 2 when he does steal. And here's Connor Wanahan, the first baseman, at 268. And Taylor made for 2 to Flansburgh, Noisy, and O'Brien. 4-6-3.
Yeah, nice job of Ryan Madden, the starting pitcher for OU, really keeping his composure. He gave up the leadoff hit last inning to Austin Wade, turned into a 2-run inning. Gives up the leadoff hit to Josh Watson, but keeps his composure, makes a nice pitch, and gets Connor Wanahan into turnover on that fastball. Just rolled over on it. As you said, Barr, nice easy 4-6-3.
So bases clear for the center fielder, Dane Steinhagen, senior from Beaumont, Texas. Strike one to him with 29 runs batted in, already a career high. He is heating up. Last 18 games, he's raised his average 75 points, hitting .348, 8 multi-hit games over those 18. So now challenging 300.
Well, you mentioned it before, Barn. TCU Horned Frogs get production up and down their lineup, and get a hitter like Dane Steinhagen, who last year was hitting in the number 4 hole for the Horned Frogs, now back in the 8 hole because of how good these guys are.
Harris had to wait for the hop. O'Brien applying the tag at first base. Sparkling infield defense for the Big 12 defensive leaders, the Oklahoma Sooners. Look at Austin O'Brien, the Oklahoma first baseman, who just expertly executed the sweep tag.
Well, the benefits of having an athletic first baseman in O'Brien. Watch him jump off the bag, catches the ball, applies the tag. Beautifully done, Austin O'Brien. That's an athlete at first base.
He may get to hit this inning. OU in the third. Kick things off with Ben Hollis, who sacrificed Cade Harris to second base in the first. Baker then struck out Noisy and Flansburgh, who will also hit this inning. And we had a chance to see how the freshman Baker recovers from what happened to him in the OU second.
I wouldn't call it a meltdown. I would just call it, you know, lack of execution after the error. Didn't pick up his infielder after the throwing error from shortstop. And it's one of those things, as a young pitcher, oftentimes you'll put your head down thinking inning's over, and just didn't recover quick enough.
Ball is flying out to Josh Watson for the first out of the third. Looked like in the second, Baker had a very quick 1-2-3 inning. Now he's reaching on the air by the shortstop Merrill, and then back-to-back doubles by Walker and Lorenzo to tie the score. Boise worked the count full and went down swinging his first trip. Count the honors. 2014 Big 12 Freshman of the Year, twice unanimously selected first team all conference. Freshman and sophomore year.
Pete Hughes calls him, yeah, one of the more intuitive players in the lineup as well, Barn. And you know, when you talk about a complete baseball player, you know, it's often referred to as a 5-tool guy, and that's really what you have with Sheldon Noisy.
Baker gets him on strikes again, this time looking on 3 pitches.
And a nice reset here from Luken Baker, coming back after that rough second inning. And you know, great pitchers can reset their minds mentally and get right back into the strike zone, and certainly Luken Baker doing that this inning. I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you we'd have liked to have done that a little earlier last inning. May have saved a couple of runs off the bats of OU, but again, you tip your hat to OU hitters. Did a great job with 2 outs, swinging the bat, taking advantage of some high pitches from Baker. Baker coming back here and proving why he is Gatorade High School Player of the Year last year.
Landsberg lines out to Merrill. A 7-pitch, 1-2-3 third for Baker. 2-2 here, bottom of the third. Tomorrow, it's an MLB on FS1 doubleheader as the defending AL East champion Blue Jays take on David Ortiz and the Red Sox. And then it's an NL East battle between the Braves and Marlins. All starts tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, right here on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Horned Frogs at the bottom of the third, 9-1-2. Shortstop Ryan Merrill to be followed by Austin Wade and Cam Warner. Merrill at 276. Junko out of Omaha. At Iowa Western, played in 2 Junior College World Series, won 1 national title. Had a good example of who you were talking about, that in most lineups could be an easy selection to lead off or hit second. In this lineup, he's more like a second leadoff hitter batting ninth.
That's exactly how Bill Mosiello described him.
This job handled by O'Brien, barely winning the race to the bag to beat the speedy Merrill.
Well, we talk about the great athlete at first base. Austin O'Brien made a great leaping catch and a tag the previous inning. Just misjudging the speed of Ryan Merrill here. Pitcher Ryan Madden was over to cover. Could have done it easily. Bang bang at first base. Didn't have to be, but O'Brien figured he knew how to get to the bag a little bit quicker than Merrill.
So one gone, top of the order, and Austin Wade began the game with a single. Ends this at bat looking at a strike. 2 batters later, he came home on the Scoug home run. And this one ripped to center field, and Austin Wade is 2 for 2.
Oh, just a great job of hitting by Austin Wade. You know, he's pitched backwards there. First pitch changeup out of the hand of Ryan Madden. He tried to go fastball up in the count, 0-1. Trying to sneak a fastball by Wade, and Wade says, nope, no, sir, not tonight.
Cam Warner now, who struck out in the first. And Wade will bear watching. He is 5 out of 6 in stolen base attempts on the year. On base again. On-base percentage nearing 500 in the storybook season for the sophomore from Midland, Texas.
And I'll tell you the other thing that many stolen bases does to a pitching staff, Barn. You look at that as a pitcher, you go, I've got to be quick to home plate. Oftentimes that'll mess a little bit with a pitcher's head, thinking he's got to be quicker. We'll have to watch that with Ryan Madden, see if that causes any control issues. That's typically where it'll show up. Start making pitches wide of the zone, thinking too much about trying to hold runners.
Madden making just his 3rd start. Freshman pitchers have 12 of the 18 wins for Oklahoma this year. There are only 2 returnees who have any victories for this OU staff. And the runner not going, chopped into the hole. Boise comes up gunning and barely able to nip Warner at first for out number 2.
Yeah, we know that Noisy can throw 93 off the mound, so he just threw about 93 across the diamond.
Evan Scoug on a 2-2 pitch. Sent that one way beyond the right field wall to give the TCU Horned Frogs the first inning lead. His 6th of the year, 31st and 32nd runs batted in.
You see the deep breath and the look at the barrel. That's an approach before the TCU hitters get into the box. They're actually trained to have that type of an approach, to think about, visualize the ball hitting their barrel and taking the deep breath before they step into the box. Nice shot of Evan Scoug demonstrating that. You'll watch him again. Deep breath. He visualizes Now he resets into the box.
Still paying a lot of attention to Austin Wade dancing off second base.
Well, he really doesn't need to. You got 2 outs in the inning. His concentration needs to be on getting Scoug out, unless they have plans of pitching around Scoug with first base open.
But do you do that to get to Luken Baker?
Well, that's the question you have to answer is, do you want to face the right-handed Luken Baker with the amount of RBIs that he has in his total? And or do you face Evan Scoug here? And it looks to be, right now, Ryan Madden pitching around Scoug.
Outside again, it is 3-0.
Whenever you look at a lineup, you always have to make a justification about which hitter in that lineup you don't want to allow to beat you. And the right-handed, left-handed matchup with Madden and Scoug, it's got to be on the minds of OU that they don't want to let Evan Scoug be that guy tonight. He's already done it once with the 2-run homer in the first inning. They might be thinking, hey, we'll take our chances with the right-handed hitting Baker, and Madden was able to tie him up on a fastball in the inside corner the first time he was at bat.
Swinging away at 3-0, and Scoug singles to right field. Wise comes up gunning. The throw is late. TCU takes the lead. And Evan Scoug has driven it all 3 runs.
How about the green light with Evan Scoug on a 3-0 pitch? I typically say, hey, take the pitch in this situation. They might be trying to pitch around you, but Scoug says, nope, I'll take that fastball offering and drill it into right field for my 3rd RBI. And it might have been a mistake by the Sooners to even give into that situation to throw a strike to Scoug. Knowing behind in the count 3-0, he's sitting all over fastball, and he got one.
It's a little bit surprising that they did throw him a strike at 3-0. Now here's Baker. He grounded to short his first trip. Freshman who looks anything like a freshman, and not just physically. In no hurry at the plate, knows how to work a count. In fact, as Yellow said, if anything, he's too patient. Takes a lot of strikes, a lot of hittable pitches.
Yeah, very good plate discipline, especially from a young hitter like Luken Baker. But you're exactly right. A very patient hitter, makes pitchers work. Bill Mosiello says he has a really good plan and an idea when he steps into the box of what he's trying to do.
How mature, he says, he's like a 35-year-old man.
That's right. It's a keen description for a freshman player, but certainly has demonstrated that in his young career here with TCU. Very impressive. I nicknamed him Thor a while back. I think he certainly fits that description.
Ripped to left, another base hit. Scoug down to second base. Frogs with a shot at even more business with 2 outs here in the 3rd.
And a couple of mistakes here by Ryan Madden, the starting pitcher for Oklahoma. Gets in on a 3-0 pitch to Evan Scoug, who makes him pay with an RBI. And then that 0-2 pitch, he was up in the count to Luken Baker. Gets the fastball up in the zone, but not nearly high enough to escape the swing of Baker. Now a couple of hits in a row here by TCU.
And now you get Elliot Barzilli at his .436 average. He got him to ground to 3rd in the first pitch to end the 1st.
Bar, that's what makes TCU so good. We talked about how good that hitting lineup is. Leading the conference in hitting, tops in the nation. And these hitters just take advantage of mistakes. Ryan Madden makes a couple of mistakes this inning, and they have made him pay for it.
Barzilli not swinging away this time, and makes it a strike on the inside edge, says Jeff Hendricks.
And that pitch has been called a number of times tonight, so very consistent strike zone so far from Hendricks.
Chopped to Noisy, and Barzilli is 0 for 2. The Frogs take the lead. The run on 3 hits, they leave 2. National Player of the Week, Hunter Haley, will flex his muscles in the fourth for Oklahoma. This weekend, NASCAR heads to the short track at Bristol, starting tomorrow at noon Eastern with Xfinity Racing on FS1, featuring special guest analyst Brad Keselowski. And then Sunday, it's Sprint Cup Racing at 12:30 Eastern, only on Fox, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. 3-2 TCU. They go into the fourth. O'Brien, Haley, and Wise set the hit against Luken Baker. We talked to Jim Schlossnagle a couple of weeks ago about Baker and the unusual combination of dominant pitcher and overpowering hitter. And he's a freshman, but it's impossible not to project ahead to the next level. Where would you think his highest value would be if he is to make it to the next level?
Yeah, that's a great question, Barn. I still think it's too early to tell. You know, if you asked the scouts last year, they would have said, you know, we like him on the mound. You go to this year now and seeing how he's performed at the plate, and you have to start to wonder, do you want his bat in the lineup every day as a position player, possible DH in the big leagues? But yeah, he's destined for that level if he continues to perform like this. And again, that's the biggest question on everybody's mind. You know, pitcher, hitter. I think that's yet to be determined.
Well, and Schlossnagle talking about the state of the major leagues right now. He says it's more of a prime value on a big bat than a big arm. An elite pitcher, he says, would be much easier to keep in school nowadays than an elite hitter.
Yeah, and I think you can look back at a couple of players who have done it. You know, Brooks Kieschnick out of University of Texas about 15 years ago, and you know, Brooks became an everyday player, made it to the big leagues. I still think with Luken Baker, you could look at him as an everyday player in a lineup and still possibly pitch out of the bullpen if a major league or professional club wants to look at it from that perspective.
Hot shot, but rolled right to Ryan Merrill, and O'Brien is 0 for 2. One gone on the OU fourth. That'll bring up Haley. Well, at some point, it won't be surprising if that decision comes, either for Baker or whatever team might acquire his services once he's done here at Fort Worth.
No doubt the club that drafts him will help to make that determination, but he's definitely headed for a high round draft pick in a couple of years.
Haley, first ball hitting high into right center, and Dane Steinhagen squeezes out number 2, and Haley is 0 for 2, the National Player of the Week. Baker has settled down since the back-to-back RBI doubles in the second by Walker and Dorenzo. He's retired 6 straight. And now Alex Wise, who reached on the Merrill error and then stole second. And scored on the Walker double. Walker then home on the Dorenzo double.
55, 56 pitches now for Luken Baker. About 38 strikes. Nice ratio here on the freshman pitcher. Again, we talked about what makes him so effective. He just goes right after hitters. He's a strike thrower, keeps the ball down. Kirk Sarloos, the pitching coach for TCU, says, you know, his best games are when he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. He just makes hitters put the ball in play.
Into right, easy play for Wade. 1-2-3 for the second straight inning for Luken Baker. Bottom of the fourth, it's 3-2 TCU, and we're joined by Pete Hughes, the Oklahoma coach. And you're making a pitching change here. Ryan Madden relieved by Keaton Hernandez.
Yeah, you know, the barrel was on it a little bit too much, and especially with their left-handed hitter. If you look and see what their left-handed hitters have done, you know, not even 2 times through the lineup right now. So our strength is our bullpen, and I thought Ryan did a good job. He held his composure after letting up a 2-run homer there in the first, got back in the zone. So, you know, we feel good about our bullpen, and I thought Ryan did a really good job in handing it over to Keaton.
Well, Pete, Luken Baker did a pretty good job for TCU so far. What kind of adjustments did you make against him?
He's going to give us plenty of fastballs to hit, you know, and we got to be productive when he does it. So I think we're more of a fastball hitting team. He's going to give us a fastball, and we got to be super aggressive and hunt it.
Pete, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Third-year head coach of the Sooners going to Keaton Hernandez. from Palm Springs, California, out of northeastern Oklahoma. And first ball hitting Josh Watson, who singled his first trip.
Now, typically, Pete Hughes likes to save Hernandez for that 6th, 7th inning. We're seeing a little bit early here, but a lot of trust in him. He's a strike thrower, really one of the better strike throwers on the OU staff, and got a good fastball, 88 to 90. Got a good two-seam. You'll see some good arm side sink to that fastball, but his stuff behind it's really good as well. The curveball plus changeup, but great command of all 3 pitches. Will throw any of them in any count.
He says a classic college senior. Can trust him in any situation, including here earlier than usual. This ball is ripped foul.
That ball was tattooed by Josh Watson. Got a fastball up and in from Hernandez, and watch the nice compact swing. Pulls his hands in. He knew it was foul right when he stroked it, but we talk about those short compact swings, the TCU Horned Frogs, and that's just a philosophy that Bill Mosiello, the hitting coach, teaches.
Watson at Martin High School, Arlington, Texas, middle linebacker. Great power numbers. Strongest man on the TCU team. Works the count full.
Now, I've seen this young player play for a lot of years and actually had a chance to coach him in a summer league for a few games, and he is the real deal, Barn. He is a real gamer. You know, when he loves to play, has a passion for the game, and he's one of those guys you have to kick him off the field.
Did you call him the quiet assassin, or was that was Bill Mosiello?
Mosiello,
quiet assassin.
Yeah, it doesn't say a whole lot. When he steps on the field, he's all business.
7 home runs, tied for second in the Big 12. Keaton Hernandez bounces the 3-2 pitch. And Watson is aboard. First walk in this game for either team. That'll bring up Connor Wanhan.
If there's anything against Keaton Hernandez, he does issue quite a few walks. That's his 15th of the season, and with the command of those 3 pitches, it's going to be important for him to establish that now here early on.
Hernandez has started 3 games. This is 15th appearance overall, and in 36 innings, a little more than a hit per inning. And as you said, 15 walks now. 0-1 with a 375 earned run average. O'Brien having to be nimble at first base.
Yeah, kind of a snap throw out of his non-set position. You see Zach Etheridge, first base coach from TCU. He thought that was going to get away from O'Brien.
Wanhanen grounded into a 4-6-3 double play back in the second. Sophomore, Flower Mound, Texas, last year. Big 12 freshman of the year. And a good, not a great year as a sophomore, with the sky-high expectations. Just a couple of weeks early with a hamstring. Converting from the outfield to first base. Also a part of his sophomore year. 1-1.
Wanhanen, a real competitor. One of those players that Jim Schlossnagle loves in his lineup. Just a tough competitor.
This attention for Josh Watson, who has only run twice this year, successfully both times. That's in there, and it's 1-2. It's been a very close series since TCU joined the Big 12. They lead OU 6-5. Going back a little further, 10 of the last 13 meetings between these two decided by 1 or 2 runs. Frogs swept 3 in Norman last year to clinch their first Big 12 regular season championship. If the Sooners had swept, they could have won the regular season title.
Yeah, these two teams typically get after each other, Barney. You're exactly right. All 3 games last year that were in Oklahoma decided by 2 runs or less. Typically have one of those barn burner types of series.
You want to get the Frogs, you want to get them on Friday. They're only 4-4 on Friday night. After that, almost unbeatable. 14-1 Saturday, Sunday games.
Wow. That's I would say a bit unusual, thinking that you've got Luken Baker on the mound on those Friday nights.
Still 2-2 to Juan Hanan. You also don't want to plan to come from behind late against TCU. Leading after 6, they are 22-1.
Yeah, just an incredible bullpen, and this game is tight at the end. You'll see the closer, Durbin Feltman. He's got an electric arm. He'll bring it 96, 98 miles an hour on certain nights, and something else to watch.
Popped up and over for a look is Harris, but it is over into the stands and still 2-2. Working Hernandez, who lost Watson on the 3-2 pitch. Sooners behind Hernandez have J.B. Olson out of the bullpen. I don't know if they're ahead late. Moves Boise over from shortstop, close it out, and 3-2 again for Hernandez.
Yeah, close pitch just misses top of the strike zone. You saw the breaking ball didn't quite come down far enough for Jeff Hendricks to ring up Juan Hanan.
Almost got him leaning the wrong way that time. Just the beginning of the step toward second base by Watson.
It's about the 10th pickoff attempt at first base, and
there he goes. That is fouled off and into the Sooner first base dugout.
quite a battle here between Keaton Hernandez and Juan Hanan at the plate, but also Hernandez versus Josh Watson at first base. Schlossnagle down up the stolen base attempt here, especially with the bat in the hands of Juan Hanan. A good situational, good contact hitter for TCU.
There he goes again, and a line drive over Flansburgh and into right field. Watson easily around to third. Juan Hanan wins that extended battle with Hernandez, and there are Frogs on the corners with nobody out.
Yeah, great job of hitting. Just a great battle here, pitcher against hitter, and this time the hitter wins it. Juan Hanan gets the fastball up in the zone. Nice extension. Jack Flansburgh just over the top of his glove at second base. It would have been an easy double play. Instead, it turns into a first and third situation for the Horned Frogs with no outs.
And here is Dane Steinhagen, grounded to third his first trip. Already a career high runs batted in with 29, and an opportunity here as Hernandez misses away and already has thrown what you consider to be a rather high number of pitches for an entire inning, still with nobody out.
He's gone deep in 2 counts to the first 2 Frog hitters. Not a good recipe for success.
One of the hottest hitters in the TCU lineup rips a base hit up the middle. Watson home to make it 4-2.
Now Steinhagen gets a breaking ball here from Hernandez and rips it right back up the box. And you saw Hernandez's finish. Take a look at the replay here. Watch how he finishes. Not in a good position to field that ball. Had he been squared up to the hitter, he might have been able to make a play on it. Well, that ball was scorched really well off of Steinhagen's bat, and More trouble here for Hernandez. That'll bring a visit from the Oklahoma dugout.
If he squares up, that's at least a double play.
Yeah, easily double play because then you probably pick off Watson at third base. And you're right. That's the importance of a pitcher finishing facing the hitter at home plate. Hernandez's body turned towards first base. Just no way to make that play.
So the first 3 Frogs to face Keaton Hernandez have all reached. Watson on the walk. On the 3-2 pitch, Juan Hanna the single on the 3-2, and Steinhagen with his 30th run batted in to make it 4-2. And now Ryan Merrill grounded to first, his first trip.
Yeah, Jamie Penzino, the pitching coach for OU, out. You know, you ask yourself, what do you say to a pitcher after you give up 3 straight base hits, all scorched off the bats of TCU, and really tell Keaton Hernandez here to get the ball down. Every one of those pitches has been up in the zone, elevated. A nice hitting zone, easy to make contact for the Frog hitters. So Hernandez needs to make the adjustment down in the strike zone here.
First ball hitting, Merrill base hit center field. Juan Hanna comes home. 5-2.
Well, we've seen this before, Barn. TCU has a tendency to put up crooked numbers on the board, and here again, just a hit parade by the last 4 Horned Frog hitters. Ryan Merrill getting in on the act as well. Hernandez does get the pitch down in the zone, but Merrill's sitting all over that fastball, and ball was down but out over the middle of the plate. Now TCU extending that lead.
And back to the top of the order, and Austin Wade, who has singled twice and scored twice. Steinhagen around to third on Ryan Merrill's 14th run batted in of the year. The normally reliable Keaton Hernandez yet to retire a batter. Wade, the 5th he's faced here in the 4th.
Yeah, really a tough situation now for Pete Hughes in Oklahoma. What do you do here? The first game of the series, you've already got into your bullpen here in the 4th inning of this 3-game series, and now you have to make a decision. You're only down 5-2, still early in this game, 4th inning. You've got a powerful offense that can come back, and Oklahoma has done that. A number of walk-off game-winning situations here for them, especially a couple lately. Again, if TCU adds another 1 or 2 here, this game's starting to slip away already.
In there at the back door, it's 2-1 to Wade. Hughes with the freshman-dominated roster, but Hernandez is a senior. At this point, they got to be thinking about, well, do we just save all the other arms for the rest of the series? Leave him out there. Another base hit. That's 4 in a row following the leadoff walk to Watson to bring Steinhagen home. And the Frogs add to the lead. It's now 6-2.
Wow, this is, again, just a hit parade by TCU. And Keaton Hernandez is going to start to think, how do I get these guys out? But again, another fastball elevated in the strike zone. So 3 out of the 4 Horned Frog hits have been bad pitches. This ball's up, easy for the Frog hitters to extend on. They continue to hit mistakes.
And ball 1 low to Cam Warner, struck out and grounded to second, or to short, his first 2 trips. 5 Frogs have reached 4 straight hits, 3 straight RBIs. Steinhagen, Merrill, and Wade. And behind Warner, still nobody out. And after Warner, then you have Skaug, who has a 2-run homer and an RBI single already tonight. Then Baker and Barzilli. And it never gets much easier.
It sure doesn't. Slider there by Hernandez. He needs to start to make those pitches. Again, he has to remind himself he's only 1 pitch away from 2 outs here in this inning, and then he can get himself out of it. This is turning into one of those nightmare innings for Keaton Hernandez. He has not been hit this hard all year, probably the last couple of years.
Two and two.
Now, still plenty of game left for OU, and you have to be thinking that way. Only 4 runs down in the 4th inning here. Plenty of outs to work with, so that is the key question, Barn. Who do you turn to in the bullpen if Hernandez is not able to get himself out of this? You don't want to throw the towel in this early. Oklahoma can easily come back with their offense.
Too long for Warner. Well, Hernandez up to 27 pitches, still looking for his first out.
Yeah, just a bad inning.
Headed toward the wall in the gap in right center field to score Merrill. Wade being sent around third, and now slams on the brakes. That's a good thing he did. But an RBI double by Cam Warner continues the TCU hit parade here in the bottom of the 4th.
Boy, if you're Keaton Hernandez, you're searching for the white hanky about now. You're just starting to wave it. And Pete Hughes is going to make the merciful trip to the mound here to make the change, but my goodness. Martin, you mentioned it. Keaton Hernandez is very reliable out of that Oklahoma bullpen, and it's just one of those innings he'll want to soon forget. Man, oh man, TCU's bats just heating up this inning, and they have made Hernandez pay for every mistake pitch.
Hernandez faces 6 batters, retires none. It's 7-2. The third pitcher for Oklahoma is junior left-hander Austin Kearns. On for the 7th time this year. He's made 3 starts. 1-1, a 692 earned run average.
Yeah, a tough situation to come into for Kearns, but got to figure out a way to stop the bleeding here for Oklahoma.
Collegiate baseball has Texas Tech number 10 right behind them, the Horned Frogs. Florida dominated top of those rankings. Miami out in front of South Carolina, Florida State.
Yeah, pretty heavy SEC and ACC loaded near the top.
This is the 27th time for TCU to score 4 or more in an inning. They chased the starter Ryan Madden. 3 runs on 6 hits in the first 3. Keaton Hernandez walks the first batter. He faces Watson, and then 5 straight hits, 4 straight run scoring hits by Steinhagen, Merrill, Wade, and Warner to bring on Austin Kearns.
Now, Barn, you called this the most balanced offensive team that Jim Schlossnagle's ever coached, and he told us that. But he said a lot of credit goes to third base coach Bill Mosiello, who's also the hitting coach for TCU. And he came in here a few years ago and he said, Jim, I think we can build one of the best offensive teams in the country. Here's how I want to do it. And they have certainly executed that plan. They've got nice compact hitters with a lot of speed on this team. Again, Mosiello's philosophy is be patient, wait for a pitch you can hit, and when you get it, don't miss it. TCU certainly has not missed the mistake pitches out of the arms of the Oklahoma Sooners tonight.
Well, the first 2 pitches to Evan Skaug miss. Skaug in the first. 2-run blast deep to right, his 6th home run of the year. RBI single in the third to break a 2-2 tie.
And you start to wonder, how do you get these types of hitters out? And Pete Hughes going now with the lefty Kearns.
This one driven deep and over Haley, and that will head to the wall. Wade and Warner score. Evan Skaug has a 3-for-3, 5 RBI night. We're only in the 4th, but it's 9-2 TCU.
Wow, have a night, Evan Skaug. And Now the left-hander Kearns, he gets a fastball up in the zone and he just drives it to left field. Goes with the pitch. It's an outside fastball. Watch how compact and sweet that swing is. Just stays on that pitch, drives it to left field over the head of Hunter Haley. And Haley with good speed, one of the best defensive outfielders in the Big 12, and can't get to that ball.
Six and counting in the Horned Frog fourth. Still nobody out. The 8th batter in the inning is Luken Baker, who was grounded to short and singled. Six straight hits, 5 straight RBI hits, back-to-back doubles. Warner and Scoug, and now Baker.
Yeah, an offense that starts to get on track. You oftentimes see this. You get 2 or 3 hits put together, and all of a sudden the confidence and energy picks up in the dugout. You walk up to the plate thinking there's no way they can get us out. And certainly for the last 6 TCU hitters, been a fun night so far.
9 runs on 12 hits in the bottom of the 4th.
How about
an Oklahoma team that had been playing about as well as they had all year coming in. 2-2 to Baker.
Yeah, how about Evan Scoug, Bart? He's, as you said, 3 for 3, but a triple short of the cycle, and we're not out of the 4th inning.
Not into the 4th, yeah. Homer, single, double, 5 runs batted in. He did 35 for the year.
Have a night.
No telling where this number is finally going to wind up, because still nobody out. It was a rare inning with the first 7 batters all reach. Slicing out of play as Wives took a brief look over there before it sailed over the OU bullpen. Still 2-2 to Baker.
I'll tell you what's also impressive when you watch TCU's lineup. It's how they hit to all fields. That double by Evan Scoug goes opposite field over the head of Haley in left. And you go look back at the 6 hits in a row now, and 3 of those hits have been to opposite field or up the middle.
That went into that wind blowing in from left at about 15 miles an hour. Chopped. Harris had to wait for the hop, and a nice scoop by Austin O'Brien at first base, and Baker at long last is the first TCU out of the inning.
A bit of a short hop out of the arm of Cade Harris. He's been a little bit wild with a couple of throws tonight. Austin O'Brien, again, not an easy pick at first base. That ball was about 2 feet out in front of him, and he made it look easy. At least produces the first out of the inning for Oklahoma.
O'Brien made a couple of nice plays at first. So the Frogs bat around. Here is Elliot Barzilli, who was twice grounded out. The league's leading hitter, coming in 8th nationally, the .436 average. And at this point, Pat, of all people, the only Frog without a hit in this game.
That's really hard to believe. Well, Jim Schlossnagle commented on Elliot Barzilli. I said, Jim, what makes him such a great hitter? He said, you know, we've always known he's had it in him. All he's to do is watch his bat speed. He's had incredible hands, incredible quickness. And Jim Schlossnagle says he's got one of the quickest bats he's ever seen. They have a machine called TrackMan here at the park. It measures pitch speed and spin off the pitcher's hand, but it also measures the ball off the hitter's bat. There was a ball he hit a couple of weeks ago back up the middle that came off the bat at 115 miles an hour.
That is a big league number.
That's a big league number. Exactly.
2-1. The other big difference this year is using the whole field, not just trying to be a pull specialist. Taking whatever the pitcher gives him.
Well, that and the plate discipline has really made the difference for Barzilli. He's laying off the pitches that got him out last year, which were really breaking balls and soft stuff in the dirt. He would go chasing. This year he's laid off those pitches. He's getting a lot better pitches to hit. Boy, he's taking advantage of them when he gets them.
Comes into this game having reached base in 17 straight. Not yet tonight. Junior from Los Angeles. You know, Georgia Tech is watching the season he's having and saying, oh, why didn't that happen here?
We let him get away.
He hit 200 at Georgia Tech and has transformed himself as a junior here at TCU.
And some of that's on the player, you know, making the adjustments. And it's one thing to have a great coach, a great hitting coach like Bill Mosiello, who has been given credit for helping players like Mike Trout at the big league level. But again, you have to have the hitter buy into it. The player has to make those adjustments. Certainly Barzilli has bought into Mosiello's philosophy, but he's executing it.
Hard hit ball right at O'Brien. Barzilli is 0 for 3, 2 outs. And back to the man that started it with a leadoff walk, Josh Watson. Watson singled his first trip. He has led off 2 innings and reached both times. Scout still at second base. Driven hard to center. Hollis had a great jump and comes in to finally end what had to feel like an endless bottom of the 4th for the Sooners. Frogs score 6, lead by 7. Frog 4th, producing 6 runs on 6 hits and a 9-2 lead. Tomorrow, UFC Fight Night returns to Fox as 2 of the UFC's top light heavyweights collide. Lever Teixeira squares off against former world champion Rashad Evans. Plus, Lyoto Machida takes on Dan Henderson. It all starts at 6 p.m. Eastern on your local Fox affiliate, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. And Luken Baker takes the mound, much more comfortable position than when he was last out there, and it was a tight 3-2 game. Steele Walker, the DH, doubled in a run and scored in the 2-run Oklahoma second.
And now a challenge for Luken Baker is to refocus back in. Long inning on the bench. Typically as a pitcher, you're okay with scoring a couple of runs, but you don't want those innings to go 20-25 minutes without throwing a baseball. And we'll see if Luken Baker can respond here after that long offensive outburst.
The top freshman in the country and the top high school players in Texas last year. Steele Walker from Prosper, Texas, the Dallas Morning News Player of the Year for the state champions. 2-time All-State and academic All-State. Somewhat of an up and down freshman year. Over his 13th run in his first at bat. Just again, the count full here leading off the 5th.
Yeah, and Barn, he's really just a typical freshman, really learning the speed of this game at this level. And as Pete Hughes says, he's making some good adjustments. He'll continue to learn the game at this level, but really trying to slow the game down for him as he comes out of the Texas high school ranks.
And exactly the last thing Luken Baker wanted to do with a 9-2 lead is walk the leadoff hitter. First walk of the game. Walker aboard for Dominic Dorenzo, who doubled in a run in the second. Briefly tied this game at 2. Yo-yo runs unearned after the error by the shortstop Ryan Merrill on what would have been a 1-2-3 inning. Alex Wise reached. Walker and Dorenzo followed with doubles. And a strike at the knees to Dominic. Pittsburgh High School Player of the Year last year. Their fastest runner. Not often is that said about a catcher. He was 4 for 4 when he steals.
It goes back to the days of Craig Biggio, right? Before they moved him to the infield. One of the faster catchers in baseball history.
And I think that's the end of the list.
That was it.
I can't come up with a single name besides Rick Biggio could run.
That's right.
Pete Hughes says he is a classic Northeastern player. Dominic Lorenzo, all the talent in the world, but somewhat raw because he didn't play year-round like the players this part of the country did growing up.
In Texas, you play about 100 games in the summer, so at least Dominic's fresh. Again, a lot of excitement about this young player. Pete Hughes says he is a real up-and-comer and really controls the running game well. Got a strong arm, very accurate behind the plate with his throwing arm as well. He said that's going to be huge against this TCU lineup this weekend.
Baker rears back, blows that one past him at 91 miles an hour. 4th strikeout.
How about this for recovery? Get a little ticked off because you walk the leadoff man after your team scores you 6. He says, all right, I'll just tie Dominic Lorenzo up with a couple of fastballs on the inside half of the plate.
So 1 gone. Top of the order in Cade Harris. In a game with an infield hit, bounced to the mound to end the 2nd.
That's just not a fair pitch. You know, you're up 9-2. You throw a snapdragon breaking ball in for first strike on Cade Harris.
Harris from Leona, Texas, Centerfield High School, another OU freshman. Pete Hughes says a super mature approach at the plate. He usually sees more pitches per plate appearance than anybody in the lineup. Can handle left-handed pitching. Really high on the job he's doing at third base, which he thinks is the toughest position to play in college baseball. That will give Walker a chance to go down to second base. Gaug not able to backhand that one. And that will bring Kirk Saarloos out for a visit on the mound.
Yeah, it's absolutely what needs to happen here. Get Luken Baker to refocus. You can see the pitches he's missing with now. A couple of dirt, a couple up high and wide, and it's just a concentration issue with a 9-2 lead. You go out there and you relax a little bit too much. Kirk Saarloos is getting in his ear a little bit, saying, hey, you pitched it like this game is 0-0. A few choice words from the pitching coach.
You didn't have to be a great lip reader to see that Saarloos was saying get after it.
Yeah, I had a few of those mound visits, I promise you. Yeah, there's nowhere to hide when your pitching coach gets a little upset with you. But again, just the maturity of a pitcher like Baker, looking to mature a little bit more in a situation like this.
This is right around what has been his limit in innings and pitches. 5-6 innings, 70-80 pitches. But Harris reaches on the second walk of the inning. That'll bring up Ben Hollis.
And that'll get the TCU bullpen heated up as well. And you know, Baker's pitched well up to this point. You certainly don't want to go out with a bad inning thinking, boy, my team put up a 6 spot for me, and I went out here and did throw strikes. Take yourself out of a start, especially when you're 2 outs away from potentially getting a W by your name.
Well, that's the thing. Finish this 5th inning. And then hope the bullpen will do their job.
Yeah, nice breaking ball. He's controlled that pitch better this inning. Dropped a couple of breaking balls in there for strikes. It's been the fastball that's gotten away from him at times.
Baker's first 2 collegiate starts against Loyola, Marymount, and Rice. 12 innings, total of 5 hits, no runs. He has started 3 shutouts, also one against Wichita State. But he's not gone longer than 6. And nearing the 80 pitch mark here in the 5th. With walks to Walker and Harris. And now behind Hollis.
He seems to be pulling off his fastball a bit. You can see how he's finishing up towards the first base side. He's missing high and away outside to the left-handed hitter Hollis.
Blocked nicely by Skaug, and it's 3-1. And Pat, this is where, as we discussed in the second inning, the dozen or so extra pitches that he had to throw after the error when it would have been a 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, that certainly didn't help the pitch count, but this is really all on him right now from a concentration standpoint. He is a strike thrower. He usually doesn't have issues with his command or his control as he's having now, and it's one of those times you just got to kick yourself in the rear and get after it.
First 8 starts, he walked a total of 12, 2 here in the 5th inning. And Hollis was ready to take his base. Jeff Hendricks says no. That caught Black, and it's 3-2.
Well, typically when your pitcher's that far out of the strike zone and that ball looked to be off the plate, it's the benefit of a strike there by Jeff Hendricks, the home plate umpire. And boy, sometimes when you're that wide with your pitches, you don't get pitches like that called for you.
Well, he didn't get that one, and he has walked the bases full with a 7-run lead here in the 5th inning. And now Sheldon Noisy, who with one swing can make this a game again.
That's exactly right. He's put himself in a position now where he has to throw strikes. Nowhere else to put Sheldon Noisy, and now you got to face one of the top hitters in that OU lineup. Certainly not the guy you want to face with bases loaded.
Struck him out both times, swinging in the 1st, looking on 3 pitches in the 3rd. Not a single ball put in play here in the 5th inning. The only out of strikeout of Dorenzo.
Well, the only pitch that has been controllable this inning for Baker is that breaking ball. That one he buries it. Noisy not able to lay off, but again, good strike pitch. That's the breaking ball he's been able to throw for strikes.
This one is ripped to center field, where Steinhagen makes the catch, but Walker comes home to make it 9-3. Noisy drives it his 25th run on the sac fly.
Boy, and Sheldon Noisy had a nice pitch to hit there. Fastball middle in. Couldn't quite get extended on it. That was the benefit of that breaking ball beforehand. It really neutralized his swing a bit for that inside fastball. So Baker gets the out, gives up the run, but gets the out.
And that brings up Jack Flansburgh. When you consider the possibilities, that's one of the better possibilities that Baker could have wound up with, facing Noisy there. An out for a run. Flansburgh lined to the shortstop mirror last time up, caught looking to end the 1st. Harris at 2nd, Hollis at 1st. 1-1.
A nice change up there by Baker, and again, it's the off-speed pitches that have worked for him this inning.
To center field again, and Steinhagen is there, and Baker works around 3 walks. A run without a hit in the OU 5th. Joined by Horned Frogs head coach Jim Schlossnagle with a 9-3 lead. How close were you to pulling Luken Baker in that last inning?
Not at all. I mean, if there's, our issue the whole season has been trying to get our starting pitcher to go deeper in games, and finally we give him a little bit of run support. We got to find a way, especially with the possible 2 games tomorrow, we got to find a way to get him deep in the game.
Jim, you've talked about the effects of this offense, and you really are thrilled with what's happening this year. What has been the difference for this TCU Horned Frog offense?
I think we have some really talented players and the guys that have bought into a system, and obviously you see most of the hits are in the middle of the field or the other way, so they're staying on the baseball and they're just truly committed to the offense, but basically some really good players.
Jim, we appreciate the visit as always.
Yep, thanks for being here, guys.
Jim Schlossnagle, our pleasure. And you mentioned the possibility of playing 2 tomorrow. There is weather expected on Sunday, and a lot of Big 12 series have turned into Saturday doubleheaders. That has not officially been announced for here, but it is a very good possibility because there's supposed to be heavy rain coming in on Sunday. They expect to make that decision by 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to go that way as well. 100% chance of rain for Sunday and Monday, and of course trying to get these games in is the priority.
Alec Hansen, last year one of the best pitchers in the Big 12. What has happened to him this year?
Well, Barn, I think a number of things. He's had a tremendous start at UCLA, 13 strikeouts in his first start, and it was downhill from there, and really has just had some mechanical issues and And really, you know, from an emotional standpoint, it's been a battle for him this year. High expectations coming in, and you know, the 6'7" right-hander throws 98, 99 miles an hour, just an electric fastball. He was on the top of every draft list for Major League clubs, and he has just really struggled. You see the 0-4 record with a 7.36 ERA, and really it's just been lack of control. He just lost his control for about 3 or 4 starts in a row. And Pete Hughes says, you know, we've just got to give him a mental break and let him readjust here. And Hughes has looked for some opportunities and some spots to put him into games to get him back on track. And of course, with a 9-3 deficit here, good time for Alec Hansen to get himself into a game and to get back on track, because he sure has major league potential.
6'7", 235, junior out of Loveland, Colorado. 25th round pick by the Rockies, coming out of high school. That's just his 3rd appearance out of the bullpen this year after the 6 early starts. And working to Juan Hannen with a full count, leading off the Frog 5th. And gets a ground ball to Noisy. Runs it across just in time to nip Juan Hannen.
Wow, that's just a rocket arm by Sheldon Noisy at shortstop. The ball was a slow roller. You see the ball off the bat of Juan Hannen here, and look at that throw. That is 95 across the diamond from the shortstop, and not many shortstops can make that play. Stayed back on it, took it on an easier hop. He could have charged the ball the whole way, made an off-balance throw, but that's a player that understands what he has behind that arm. Sat back and made the play and threw a bullet to first base.
Strike 1 to Steinhagen. It's grounded out, singled in a run and scored. In fact, he drove in the first of those 6 fourth-inning runs for the Frogs. Hansen last year was at 6'7", just a very difficult customer for college hitters to adjust to. Had a 10 strikeout complete game last year against number 10 Texas Tech. 12 strikeouts against Oregon State in 5 innings. That's the stuff.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, it really is.
He had.
You know, it just makes you feel for the young man, Alec Hansen, because he's got all the potential. He's got the talent. Boy, been gifted with an unbelievable right arm. And again, you feel for a player like this, and if you've played sports in your career, everybody's gone through slumps. And for Alec Hansen, it just turned into something worse than that. And for him to now mentally get himself back into this, his pitching repertoire, and to really get things going again, you really are rooting for him. He's got the potential to pitch at the big league level.
This year, 20 walks in 22 innings. Last year, 44 in 82 innings. 2-2 to Steinhagen. Gets him looking. Good breaking ball, out number 2.
Yeah, the pitcher like Hansen, you got to be geared up for that high 90s fastball. Then you see a breaking ball that just dive bombs into the strike zone like this. It just completely locked up Steinhagen. Watch how his knees buckle. Whoa, man. Wasn't expecting that.
So 2 gone for Ryan Merrill. Grounded to first. Singled at a run and scored to the 4th. 97 on the scoreboard here on that inside fastball. So the stuff is not the issue for Alec Hansen.
No, it's just all the confidence, Barn. It really is. This will be an outing here. You hope he can finish this inning in good order, maybe start to build on something positive, and he can light the radar gun up. There is no doubt, and that's what every scout in Major League Baseball looks at, is the potential, the upside that Alec Hansen has. If he can ever dial it back in, and he'll get a club that'll take a chance on him, even with the kind of season he's had up to this point. Because when the light bulb goes on and he gets it dialed back in, he's got major league stuff. There is no doubt.
97 again, but high. 3 balls and a strike. And you get the sense talking to Pete Hughes about him that when he struggled early this year, he almost made it worse because he has such high expectations, a high sense of responsibility for the team. And a young team, he's expected to be an ace, a leader right out of the gate, and not being able to fill that role this year, and it sort of
it snowballed. Yeah, that's what it was, Bart. It was really not about him. It wasn't about Alec going, man, I'm messing up my draft status. I'm not going to get to sign for the millions of dollars. It was, I'm letting my teammates down. So it's not a selfish thing at all with him. In fact, you really praise him for the way he responded. And what Pete Hughes says was, he said, Coach, I feel bad because I'm not pitching and winning games as I'm expected to do for the Sooners. Had nothing to do with his own desires to get to the next level.
So when the role change was proposed, he understood from a team standpoint why he had to come out of the rotation, which he was expected to anchor. And after 94-mile-an-hour fastball, everything between 94 and 97 from Hansen here in the 5th.
Don Dorenzo with a smile on his face, he said, hey, big fella, when you cross me up and you're throwing 98, that's not nice. He said, don't do that. I think he was expecting something soft there, and Dorenzo made the adjustment, caught the fastball, but to make sure Alec Hansen's on the same page with him in terms of signals.
Austin Wade on base now 21 consecutive games, 3 for 3 in this one, scored 3 and driven in a run. 20th game leading off for Wade. He is better than the .360 hitter in this spot. .86 on the slider. It missed in. Alec Hansen, 4th Sooner pitcher of the night. Ryan Madden, the starter. 3 runs, 6 hits in 3 innings. To left field, and easy play for Hunter Haley. And one of the better innings in this role for Alec Hansen, working around the 2-out walk and keeping it 9-3. You can be sitting here at Lupton Stadium minding your own business, turning to talk to your friends sitting next to you in the stands, and turn around and get hit by that cannon, the pickle cannon. Our next Big 12 baseball game here on FS1, right here in Fort Worth again in 2 weeks. Matchup between the top 2 teams in the Big 12. TCU hosting the current leader, number 10, Texas Tech. Join us Friday, April 29th, 9 Eastern, here on FS1. Texas Tech off to one of the best starts in the history of the Big 12 at 11-1. Picked 5th in the coaches' preseason poll. Austin O'Brien to lead off the OU 6th, and Luken Baker out there, at least to start the 6th.
That's the series on your calendar you circle, and don't want to miss that one. Texas Tech, and Tim Tadlock certainly has the Red Raiders playing really well. That's what we foresee as a possible Big 12 final between TCU and Texas Tech. It's only been the best so far in the Big 12.
Baker with all 3 of those walks in the 5th, but allowed only the 1 run. Skied into center field, and Steinhagen has to wait a while for that one to come down.
That ball had about a 7-second hang time. O'Brien just missed it. The fastball inner half, and better start for Luken Baker, throwing strikes this inning.
O'Brien 0 for 3. It'll bring up Hunter Haley, and the National Player of the Week 0 for 2. He is fouled out. Last time up, he flied out to Steinhagen. Not many seniors on this OU roster, but they're starting to pick up some slack, take some pressure off the freshmen. Pitching and the defense have been solid all year. Some signs of hitting starting to come around. Haley right in the middle of that resurgence. That bouncer backhanded by Juan Hanan. Baker covers. Haley, along with Noisy, coming in as the toughest outs in the OU lineup. and neither has managed to reach so far against Baker.
Yeah, it seems like Luken Baker is really bearing down on those two hitters especially. Talk about the key catalyst in that lineup, especially lately here for OU. It has been Noisy and Haley, and they have been quiet tonight.
Boy, this is the inning that they really wanted him to put up in the 5th.
Last inning, yeah, that's exactly right.
It was finally coming. He's over the 90 pitch mark. So if you're a glass half full guy, then you look at it and say, well, Luken Baker is learning how deep he can go in a game.
That's exactly right, Barn. I think it was one of those situations when he came back into the dugout last inning. Boy, he got an earful from Jim Schlossnagle as well. And, you know, you want to send your pitcher out there and finish a game on a good note. Really set you up for your next start. You don't want to come out of a game, especially with a 9-3 lead, and think, I didn't pitch very well. So this will leave a much better taste in his mouth if he can finish off this inning strong and come out with a 3-up, 3-down type of an inning.
Did he hold up? Greg Harmon down at first says he did.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
It was really close on that swing, and we'll see if Wise holds up.
Yep.
Yeah, sure did. Good call by first base umpire Greg Harmon. Got that one right.
97th pitch of the night for Baker is rolled to Warner. And Baker has his 3rd 1-2-3 inning of the night. Keeps TCU on top 9-3. 3-2 game broken open at a 6-run bottom of the 4th, which began with ball 4 to Josh Watson. There followed singles by Wanhanen, Steinhagen to drive in a run, Merrill RBI single, Austin Wade likewise, Cam Warner RBI double, Evan Skaug 2-run double.
Well, when you talk about a hitting philosophy, especially at the college level, and you see discipline like that, we counted them up, Barney. It was 3 hits up the middle, 3 opposite field hits. That is a hitting philosophy that hitters buy into, that is very effective at this level, very difficult to pitch to.
Cam Warner, after striking out, grounding out his first 2 trips, contributing that RBI double. And then scoring on the double by Skaug, who was on deck and is 3 for 3, needing a triple for the cycle. Already with 5 RBIs tonight. So from Alex Hansen, it's either fastball 96, 97, slider at 86.
Yeah, it's super easy to hit, right? No problem. Yeah, and it's a really smooth 96 too. You watch his mechanics, you see how really well put together his mechanics are. Very nice and smooth. There's nothing herky-jerky about it, and the fastball just explodes out of his hand.
Noisy deep in the hole to nip Warner with that gun that he's displayed more than a few times tonight.
Wow, that's an incredible play. It really is. And take a look at how deep in the hole towards third base he fields this ball. You got your third baseman, Cade Harris, cutting in front of you. And bam, boy, bang, bang, play at first base. He gets the call. What a throw by Sheldon Noisy.
Almost any other college shortstop can't make that throw in time.
I'd say there's a handful, but man, oh man, that is some kind of play. And you know, we talked to Pete Hughes about this because a lot of scouts say, you know, Sheldon Noisy's not a shortstop. He's playing at shortstop in college. But Pete Hughes swears by it. He says this kid can play shortstop in the big leagues. You have to look past his build because he's pretty thick in the middle, but he's got great range. And look at that gun across the diamond.
Because I've hit 15,000 ground balls to him. I know what he's capable of.
That's right.
That's short.
I think Pete's just tired of hearing from scouts that he's not a middle infielder. And my goodness, we've seen him make a couple of plays tonight that just only a couple of players can make at the big league level.
Skaug swinging away. High heat at 2-0. Real speed again.
Yeah, that's a gun. There's just no other way to describe it. That's just an absolute gun. And when you talk about the ability of shortstops to get the balls deep in holes and then to square up their body and make a throw like that, there's just not many players that can do that.
Bit of an overthrow by Hansen, and it's 3-1 to Scow. 2-run homer in the first, RBI single in the third, 2-run double to greet Austin Kearns in the fourth. All 6 of those runs charged to Keaton Hernandez, who did not retire a batter. His ERA is going to look quite different. Right past him at 96, 3-2.
Yeah, you don't blow many fastballs by Evan Scow, and that ball just exploded from Hansen. All up in the zone, and pitch that sure looked good to hit when it left his hand.
And then at 98 miles an hour, ball 4. What a night for Evan Scow, the sophomore catcher from Libertyville, Illinois. In the first inning, his 6th home run of the year, never in question. 2-2 in the third. And he made it 3-2. Driving home Austin Wade with 2 outs. And then Austin Kearns with a 2-0 pitch sees Scow double in 2 of those 6 runs in the fourth. Now Baker, who has grounded out twice in between a base hit in the third. Power on power here. 6'7", 235 Alec Hansen. 6'4", 265 Baker. That 97-mile-an-hour strike. 1-1.
Yeah, if they can't settle here on the baseball field, I'd like to see a wrestling match with those two. Those are some big fellas out there playing baseball. Got a basketball player and a defensive end.
Now Baker being super patient and selective makes the challenge tougher, you'd think, here for Hansen. At the knees, Baker thought a bit low, 2-2.
Here's the matchup. 6'7" on the mound and 265 at the plate.
Baker went around. He wants an appeal. Hendricks says, no, I got you going around. No need for an appeal. Second strikeout for Hansen.
Yeah, a good slider down by Hansen, and it's a good call. He didn't hold up there, and Jeff Hendricks makes the call. Pirates did a good job tonight. Haven't missed one yet.
Now Elliot Barzilli, the only Horned Frog without a hit, oddly enough. Grounded to third and short, line to first last time. And sends this one high, but hooking into foul ground and playable right up against the wall for Haley.
Wow, beautiful play by Hunter Haley in left field. Finds the wall, makes the catch. Subtly done, but he makes the catch.
Needed everything. Back at Lupton Stadium, first of a 3-game series, dominated by TCU. We move into the 7th, and Sean Weimer will take over for Luken Baker.
Yeah, a freshman following a freshman, Sean Weimer. 6'1" freshman, 190 from Flower Mound, Texas. You see the stats there. Having an outstanding season. Not many appearances in Big 12 conference play, so Weimer gets the appearance here out of the bullpen for the Horned Frogs with a big lead, 9-3 here in the top of the 7th.
The only time he's been scored on was his last outing. There's Luken Baker with a new career high, 97 pitches, going 6 innings, only 1 earned run. Only 3 hits and none after the second. He struck out 4, all 3 walks coming in the 5th, in which he allowed only 1 run on the sacrifice fly by Sheldon Noisy. Strike 1 to the DH, Steele Walker. Double in a run and scored in the second. Leadoff walk. In the 5th, scored on the Noisy sac fly.
Yeah, for Luken Baker, you wonder how he feels the dugout Only give up the 3 runs. It's a quality start for him, but not as sharp as he typically is, and didn't throw as many strikes as he typically does. And he goes out with a big lead, will potentially get the win here. Really had a tough 5th inning, and you wonder if that's going to have an effect on him for his next start.
That's why you call him Thor. You can tell more with the hat off.
Got the blonde locks working and certainly plays the part. Of course, being the pitcher tonight, he also was a designated hitter, so he'll continue to stay in that spot in the lineup.
Doyle Suter at third, ringing up Walker. First out of the 7th.
A nice start for Sean Weimer. Good breaking ball here. See the 12-6 break. Really snapped it. Still Walker not able to hold up. Check swing didn't quite hold, and another good call by the umpiring crew.
Now DiRenzo. An RBI double. Back in the 2nd, which briefly made it 2-2. That would last until TCU got a run in the 3rd. Last time up, struck out. Weimer unscored on in his first 6 college outings. Sunday against Kansas. Allowed 2 runs on 2 hits and a walk in an inning. Before that, he had no ERA.
And a couple of starts on the year, and one of those freshmen that probably anywhere else in the conference, he's a starter in Big 12 conference play, but here with TCU's pitching staff so deep. And you can see the stuff. Just great breaking ball there. Second strikeout with that curveball.
Just a knee buckler of a curve, too, to sit DiRenzo down.
It is a nice sharp break, and set him up with a couple of fastballs up in the zone. DiRenzo swung at the first one up, and you saw the good arm side movement on the fastball. And he follows it up with a great breaking ball down and away.
Back to the top of the order in Cade Harris. Infield hit and a walk in 3 trips. Weimer comes in meaning business. A strike thrower in the high 80s. Easy play down to 2nd for Warner, and Weimer comes in for a quick 1-2-3 top half of the 7th inning. We reach the stretch at Lupton Stadium, still 9-3 Horned Frogs. Usual packed house tonight at Lupton Stadium. A 73-degree evening in Fort Worth, 9-3 bottom of the 7th. You can join us for the 2016 Phillips 66 Big 12 Baseball Championship, May 29th, 2 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports Network's regionals across the nation. Horned Frogs celebrated there in Oklahoma City a couple of years ago. If you'd like to attend the games at Bricktown in Oklahoma City, May 25th through the 29th, go to Big12Sports.com for tickets and more information. Cody Thomas taking over in right field for Oklahoma. For Alex Wise. Alec Hansen on for his 3rd inning. The 4th OU pitcher of the evening. Watson, Wanhanen, and Steinhagen.
Well, Jim Schlossnagel certainly built something special here at TCU, and showing up in attendance. Warren, they're averaging 4,000 a game here now at Lupton Stadium. 12th best average attendance in the country. 1st among private schools. So baseball fever is really hit here at TCU.
The enrollment is only 10,000.
It's really incredible to think about that, but Schloss has really built something pretty special here. 3 College World Series appearances. Last couple of years, TCU has been phenomenal, and I tell you, the pickup in recruiting has been amazing to watch. You think back just a few years ago when TCU's battling the likes of Texas A&M and Texas and Rice for players, and Dave, they're starting to win a lot of those players, and more of these young high school players are giving TCU a first look.
Alec Hansen walking Josh Watson on 4 pitches to begin the bottom of the 7th. Third walk he's issued. 2+ innings now. He has struck out 2. Yet to allow a hit, though. And here's Wanhanen. Singled and scored. The 6-run 4th. Hansen has now gone once through the lineup. He got Wanhanen to ground out on a 3-2 pitch, leading off the 5th.
With the 9-3 deficit, Pete Hughes is looking to save arms in that Oklahoma bullpen, so hoping Hansen can continue to pitch well. As you said, Dave, he's pitched around a couple of walks here, but so far looking pretty solid for Hansen. He needs a good outing, really get his confidence back, get things back on track, and Hughes is going to be careful with him here. Wants him to have a good outing here to have something to build on.
Yeah, at this point, this should be a confidence builder, especially snapping off that curve. And 1-2-3, Wanhanen sits down. Strikeout number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. You watch him walk Watson on 4 straight pitches. He just says good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Mr. Wanhanen locks him up on that breaking ball.
All 3 innings now for Hansen, to strike out and a walk. No base hits. Steinhagen caught looking. And Hansen saw him back in the 5th.
Well, when he's in the strike zone, he just devastates hitters, and that's really just the issue with Hansen. Trying to get that head out of the way and let your body do what you trained it to do.
Another sharp curve, and it's 0-2.
Man, that's just unhittable. That's a 12-6 curveball coming off a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. There's not many big league hitters that make contact with those pitches.
So he's followed the 4-pitch walk to Hansen, sitting Wanhanen down on 3 pitches. Chance to do the same here to Steinhagen, who stays alive. If the rebuilding of the confidence of Alec Hansen can bring him back into their rotation by tournament time, how huge would that be for Pete Hughes?
That would be absolutely a gift for Pete Hughes and the Oklahoma Sooners. And a bigger gift for Alec Hansen. Well, you really got to root for him right now just to get this thing rolling again, because he's got the talent, there is no doubt.
Another curve, another called strike 3.
Yeah, just absolutely unhittable. That's all you can say. I mean, it's just a nasty breaking ball. Starts out at his letters and ends up at his kneecaps. That's impressive.
Ryan Merrill. Hansen walked him first time he saw him. Merrill, an RBI single and a run scored in the 4th. Speaking of late bonus additions, which Hansen would be if he can rejoin the starting rotation, TCU may be only a couple of weeks away from getting the guy back that was supposed to be their ace beginning of the year. Mitchell Traver now throwing off the mound. He has been out all season, but they can't redshirt him. He redshirted 2 years ago. He was a preseason All-America last year. 9-3, led the Frogs with a 189 earned run average, dealing with a lat pull, but they hope maybe when Texas Tech is here, when we're back in 2 weeks, they might plug in their ace on paper beginning of the year.
Very similar stuff to what you're seeing here with Alec Hansen and Mitchell Traver, and he would be a huge addition for that TCU pitching staff.
Nothing but strikes from Hansen since the 4-pitch Watson walk. If there is one stretch of pitching all season that he's been looking for, we're seeing it right
this is
here.
it. He has put it back together, and it's almost like watching the confidence just build pitch after pitch with Alec Hansen.
10 straight. That one is high, and the throw not in time, and Watson is now 3 for 3 stealing on the year.
Yeah, what would a game be without TCU not having a stolen base? Barn had to get one some point tonight. Hansen didn't pay too much attention to Watson, and Watson takes advantage of it, even with a 9-3 lead here in the bottom of the 7th.
How about 3 strikeouts, all on 12-6 curveballs?
Well, that is something to watch. Watch this pitch again and just get a sense of what kind of stuff this kid has.
Got them all looking here in the 7th. On to the 8th, 9-3 TCU. Luken Baker, the freshman from Spring, Texas, matched his career high with 6 innings, set a new career high throwing 97 pitches.
Now, the high school Gatorade Player of the Year last year, and you're getting to see a chance of what makes him so good. On the mound, strikeout after strikeout tonight. Tally's up 4. Great breaking ball there. One of the first Gatorade high school Americans to attend college. I think there's only been 2 in the last 25 years, and you're looking at Luken Baker. He's one of those 2.
Yeah, quarter of a century straight, the National High School Player of the Year went straight into the draft, and the only 2 who didn't were in college mostly for football reasons, Drew Henson and Chad Hutchinson.
Well, there you go.
Jim Schlossnagel says that Luken Baker comes from a family of college graduates, and there was always going to be an emphasis on education. Factored in strongly to his signing with the Frogs as a 37th round draft pick by the Astros, who no doubt knew that was the word. He was not going to skip college.
Take a shot, you know, and maybe you get lucky with the draft and maybe he signs, but obviously the great benefactor there, Jim Schlossnagel and TCU, will have Luken Baker here for a couple of more seasons, and certainly showing you why he was as highly heralded coming out of high school. Great stick at the plate, great arm on the mound.
Baker only 1 earned run in 6 innings tonight. Come back here, Ben Hollis, says Jeff Hendricks. It's 3-2.
A fastball that starts out in, but look at the arm side movement. Comes back and catches the inside corner, and Sean Weimer throwing some nasty stuff up there as well.
Hollis has sacrificed, flied out, and walked in his first 3 appearances. Junior from Longview, Texas. Hill Junior College, along with the Frogs second baseman Cam Warner. Noisy next, then Flansburgh, as the Sooners get a needed base runner leading off the top of the 8th. First one allowed by Sean Weimer. Strikeout 2 and a 1-2-3 7th. The freshman from Flower Mound, Texas, now to face Sheldon Noisy, who has struck out twice. Sacrifice fly in the 5th, driving in his 25th run of the year. So the hottest hitters coming in, Pat. Hunter Haley, National Player of the Week tonight, 0 for 3. Elliot Barzilli, Big 12's leading hitter, 8th nationally, 436 coming in, 0 for 4. Noisy, 0 for 2, but he does have the RBI.
Well, that's why you play the game on the field, right? Sometimes you got to chunk the paper in the wastebasket and let the players play. And certainly Noisy has been quiet tonight. A couple of strikeouts, but Luken Baker had a lot to do with that. Worked ahead of him, worked both sides of the plate, threw some nasty breaking stuff. And TCU pitching staff has pitched Noisy well. And they've kept Hunter Haley quiet. That was a chore.
Good curve, and it's 2-2 to Noisy.
A good breaking ball from Weimer. You saw last inning the sharp break he's had on it. Throws this one behind in the count to Noisy. Catches the inside corner.
Back with it again. Out at second and first for 6-3 by Warner, Merrill, and Juan Hanan.
Yeah, that is a heck of a job tonight by the TCU pitching staff to Sheldon Noisy 0 for 4 at this point, and nice pitch by Weimer.
Nice casual backhand strike flipped by Cam Warner.
Thought he was a little bit too far to backhand that ball, but it worked out. Ryan Merrill made the nice transfer and throw to Connor Juan Hanan at first base. You see kind of the view of disgust by Noisy. Ooh, bang, bang play at first base. Maybe that was what he was so upset about. He thought he beat that throw.
Well, he's been on the throwing end of a couple plays like that at shortstop. Opposite field for Jack Flansburgh in his first hit of the night. First hit allowed by Sean Weimer.
Well, you can say the calls at first base have been consistent. The bang-bang plays have gone to the defense tonight. And was he on the wrong end of that one if you're a Sooner fan?
Now Austin O'Brien, one of 2 300 hitters. Pete Hughes lineup tonight, Noisy being the other. As opposed to 5 Horned Frog 300+ hitters. Curve for a strike. O'Brien is fouled out, grounded out, and flied out. He was Oklahoma's Gatorade Player of the Year at Owasso 2013 and a high school All-American.
Well, Sean Weimer, the TCU reliever. Second inning of work, and I tell you what jumps out at you is at 189 batting average against. You're seeing the great stuff that he has. Good fastball, got good sink and run to it. You've seen the breaking ball a few times. It's locked up a few of the OU hitters. Evan Scout calling for the fastball up in the zone and Weimer delivering it. So being able to spot that fastball up and have the breaking ball behind it.
8 hits allowed down 12 2/3 innings for Weimer. This curve gloved by Warner. Nice stretch by Juan Honnett at first. Weimer working around a leadoff walk and a 2-out single. Alec Hansen with 3 knee buckling curves for 3 called strike 3s in the 7th.
Well, are we seeing the redemption of Alec Hansen and getting a confidence not only in himself, but has to be striking the chord with Pete Hughes. Boy, he has been searching for this from Alec for a number of outings now, and it sure is good to see him back in order. Boy, he has got some devastating stuff, as you saw the breaking ball there.
A walk in each of his 3 innings, but also at least 1 strikeout. And the top of the order, Austin Wade, to lead off the TCU 8th. So he has that curve that we just showed you, that he showed Juan Honnen, Steinhagen, and Merrill, and he's hit 98 with the fastball tonight.
That's all. That's all. Yep, that's the potential that scouts saw at the beginning of the year, and you just wonder which club is going to take their chance on Alec Hansen here. But you know, you may have some clubs that say, well, he's a bit of a project. You may have some clubs that say, yeah, but look at the upside potential. Well, when we get him straightened out, he is no doubt about his stuff.
I would think they'd be lining up.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a matter of which round he goes in. No doubt we'll have one of the best arms available in the draft.
And as you pointed out, it's not an arm that is appearing to throw full out 100% when he hits 97, 98. It's easy heat.
Easy heat. Yeah, you just watch the mechanics nice and smooth, and then the ball just explode out of his hand. And you can't teach some of those things. You know, you have to come built with that, and certainly he's got all the physical tools.
Well, still a walk per inning. He led off the 7th by walking Josh Watson, and then came the 3 consecutive called strike 3s. Now Cam Warner, 1 for 4, an RBI double and a run scored in the 6-run explosion in the TCU 4th.
And if I'm watching this too, Bart, I'm looking at Hansen been much better, much more compact out of the stretch. I may just have Jamie Penzino say, hey, let's keep him in the stretch position. Even when there's nobody on base, he just seems to be a little bit more compact, a little bit less leg lift.
Back goes Cody Thomas to retire Warner, first out of the 8th.
I've seen this over the years with a number of big league pitchers, and in fact, I played with Bruce Ruffin back in the Philadelphia days when Bruce kind of got the yips for a time period, and they just had Bruce really simplify his windup by taking the windup out of the picture and going to the stretch position. When you watch Hansen out of the stretch, his leg lift's not quite as high. He's much more compact, and it seems to be he's much more in the zone with his fastball command.
Well, one more shot at a cycle for Evan Scout. He is a triple away, so he's taken care of all the easy parts of the cycle. The 2-run homer in the first, RBI single in the third, 2-run double in the fourth, and he walked in the sixth. Tonight of big bats, he has been the hitting star for the Frogs, first of this 3-game series. That is ripped for, alas, only a single. But 4 for 4 with 5 runs batted in for the sophomore catcher from Libertyville, Illinois.
Yeah, you just won't see a more beautiful swing, especially from the left-hand side. But watch how compact he is, and it just stays nice. A nice short front step. Yeah, that's just a beautiful swing, and Evan Scout showing you why he's got All-America written all over him as well.
That's the first hit allowed by Alec Hansen. Luken Baker has singled in 4 trips. Well, you've analyzed Baker on the mound. What jumps out at you about his approach at the plate?
Yeah, I think you nailed it earlier, Barnett. It's really his patience at the plate. You know, especially for a young hitter, you often don't see young hitters that patient and able to use all fields. And he's very similar in nature to Elliot Barzilli, who we've talked about a lot. He has the ability, as big and strong as he is, he doesn't try to pull everything. And that's what you typically see with young hitters. He uses all fields and really keeps his hands back, and he drags his hands through the zone, especially on breaking pitches, so he keeps his hands in the hitting zone a long time.
Runners going, and the throw not in time to get Scoug on the back end of a double steal.
Well, offensively, TCU not shutting it down. They're taking that 9-3 lead and saying, hey, you know what? If you're not going to pay attention to us, we'll take advantage of it.
They've stolen 3 bags the last 2 innings. They are now 49 of 54 when they attempt to steal this year. And by the way, Hansen also has the 86-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just mix that one into the repertoire as well, right? Got the 12-6 nasty breaking ball, and then you got the cut fastball or slider in the high 80s.
3-1 pitch to Baker is in there. Same pitch. 3-2. Fourth inning of work for Hansen, following Ryan Madden, Keaton Hernandez, and Austin Kearns. Madden, the first 3 runs on 6 hits. Hernandez on for the 4th, and the senior could not retire a batter. 6 runs on 5 hits and a walk. Austin Kearns would come on to get all 3 outs in the 4th. But he allowed the 2-run double to Scoug, and that is whistled up the middle, a base hit for Baker. Wade comes home to make it 10-3. The throw gets through, and here comes Scoug to make it 11-3. Game may be in hand. The Horned Frogs keep playing baseball.
That's right. That's exactly right. And just a beautiful piece of hitting here by Luken Baker. I got a full count to work with, but watch the hands go to work here. Fastball inside, and you can't make contact with that pitch if your swing is out away from your body, what we call a long swing. He just got a nice short compact swing, and Dave, when you ask, what makes him a special hitter, that's it. That's his approach. He stays behind the baseball. He's not trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark, even with a full count against Alec Hansen. Just took that fastball middle in and drove it right back up the middle.
So an RBI single, second on the air at the plate. And the last piece of the puzzle to make this a really complete night for the Frogs. A hit for Barzilli, who was 0 for 4. Error charge to Ben Hollis, the center fielder, on the throw. Wave at that curve, 0-2.
Well, the good news for the Horned Frogs is they haven't needed Barzilli's bat tonight. A lot of run production despite his 0 for 4.
He had reached in 17 straight games. Barzilli not only the leader in the Big 12 in batting average, but in on-base percentage, .514 coming in. He's grounded to third and short, lined to first, fouled out to Haley on the wall down the left field line last time up. And for a moment, it looked like he might foul out to the catcher Lorenzo here, but still alive at 1-2. It's the wind to help that one get up over the screen.
What you typically see here with Barzilli, as well as a number of the TCU hitters, they get real short, especially with 2 strikes. They try to go back up the middle, oftentimes opposite field. That's the approach when they get behind in the count. And you see Barzilli shorten up his swing, and you often see a lot of college hitters do that these days. And boy, TCU is really disciplined in that approach when they get behind. Take nice short swings, and Mosiello, the TCU hitting coach, says, I just want the ball put in play, put pressure on the defense, just make contact. But you can't do that with long swings and 2 strikes.
2-2 pitch way wide at 94, and another full count. .74 pitches. This is the 4th full count in 4 innings for Alec Hansen. And he blows Barzilli away at 93. 6th strikeout for Hansen.
Yeah, nice fastball outside corner at the knees. Well, they have neutralized Elliot Barzilli tonight. Not many teams have done that this season. What a pick-me-up for Pete Hughes, though, to have Alec Hansen out here. Even though he's been touched up for a couple of runs this inning, to go this deep into the game and really save some arms in that bullpen. That's what's going to be needed for Oklahoma the rest of this series.
Inside to Josh Watson, the left fielder, who has singled, walked twice, scored a run, stolen a base. 11 runs now on 14 hits for TCU. 3 runs on 4 hits for the Sooners, each team with an error. 2-0 to Watson. I wondered if Hughes would bring Hansen out for the 8th inning, with the thinking maybe being he was so on top of his game in the 3 innings, with a walk in each inning, but striking out the side after the walk in the 7th. Maybe thinking, as Baker will take third, maybe thinking that this is where I want him to leave this game mentally.
Yeah, I think that's a delicate balance. I think it's a great question, you know, because you want a pitcher that struggled like Hansen has to walk out feeling really good about himself. But again, then you look at it and say, well, he's earned the next inning because he pitched so well last inning. And it's going to benefit the ball club if we can get him to finish this game for us with the type of deficit that we have. We'll save another arm in the bullpen for tomorrow.
And he is a starter by trade.
Right, he can get the pitch count up. I mean, he's getting ready to throw his 80th pitch, but you know, he's got a lot of pop and a lot of power. He's built to start, so the pitch count doesn't bother you at all.
Well, that curve drops a little too low, and another full count, 3 in a row.
Yeah, you see the ball strike ratio there, 43 to 37. Not exactly where you want it, but for Alec Hansen, really a good ratio to build on.
Watson down swinging, so he gets the last 2 outs of the 8th on strikeouts. 7 strikeouts with 4 walks and 2 runs allowed on 2 base hits for Hansen at the TCU 8th. Breaking out the blankets, 66 degrees.
Well, it's getting a little bit windy too, and wind's been pretty consistent. So yeah, I guess your blankets are okay.
Zach Plunkett giving Evan Scout the rest of the night off behind the plate. He has earned it. 4 for 4. Scored twice, drove in 5 runs. Triple away from a cycle for the TCU starting catcher. Haley Wise and Walker. In the OU ninth, Hunter Haley is fouled out, fly to center, and grounded to first. Louisville Slugger National Player of the Week last week. 5 games hit .473. 3 of his 4 homers on the year and 13 of his 24 runs batted in. And this one grounded for an easy play for Cam Warner. Now Cody Thomas, who replaced Alex Wise in right field. Wise was 0 for 3 with a stolen base, scored the first Oklahoma run in the second.
Yeah, Cody Thomas, a very heralded football player coming out of Colleyville High School in Texas. Went to OU to compete for the quarterback spot. Has not succeeded there. Now come on to the baseball team and really trying to get his baseball career back on track.
Serious power. They'd love to get him going. This opposite field fly ball tracked down in front of the track by Watson. And the Sooners down to their final out.
Well, if the wind's not blowing in about 15, that ball might be out of here. Nice swing by Cody Thomas, but how about the outing Sean Weimer's put together for TCU?
How about it? 2 2/3. 1 hit, 1 walk. 2 strikeouts, including Steele Walker, the first batter he faced when he came on for Baker in the 7th. Walker figuring into the 2-run OU second to briefly tie the game at 2. An RBI double and a run scored. Leadoff walk and scored in the 5th. And he strokes this one out to Steinhagen to end an 11-3 series opening victory for number 11 ranked TCU. The freshman Luken Baker gets his 3rd win against 1 loss, going 6 innings. Sean Weimer, razor sharp, finishing up with the final 3.
Well, Barton, I think we're seeing exactly why TCU has been so great in Big 12 conference play last couple of years. And again, we talked about before the game, it wasn't a rebuilding year for Schlossnagle and the Horned Frogs. It was just a reload. And certainly watching Luken Baker pitch and this offense, explosive offense for the Horned Frogs. Well, they have got something special brewing again here in Fort Worth.
They improved to 25-8, 7-3 in the Big 12. Sooners now 18-16-1, 4-6 in the league. We will return to Fort Worth a little bit more after an 11-3 Horned Frog win. Horned Frogs got off to a good start in this one. 2 runs in the first. OU tied it with 2 in the second. TCU with a run in the 3rd. And then they put it away with 6 in the 4th. And the consistent thread throughout, Pat, was the perfect 4 for 4, 5 RBI, 2-run night for Evan Scout.
Hey, awfully impressive. You know, he's only 5'11", Barn, but boy, what a compact, beautiful swing from the left-hand side of things for the TCU Horned Frogs. And Evan Scout, certainly player of the game tonight for TCU, and boy, he's really put together a great year. And Bill Mosiello says, you know, he's one of the hardest working players of the team and certainly deserving of the type of effort he put together tonight.
2-run homer in the first, RBI single in the 3rd, 2-run double in the 4th. After a walk in the 6th, a base hit. He would steal second, part of a double steal and score on throwing error by Hollis in the 2-run 8th inning. Ryan Madden gets the loss, going the first 3 for Oklahoma. Luken Baker matches his career high with 6 innings, sets a new career high with 97 pitches, allowing only 1 earned run and striking out 4, and winning his 3rd against 1 loss.
Yeah, take a look at Luken Baker. We talked about what type of hitter he is, but check out the pitching night that he had for TCU. And again, TCU's always got great arms. They've been known for that last few years, Barn, but boy, this type of effort out of a freshman, Luken Baker. You get Mitchell Traver coming back possibly in a couple of weeks. And this TCU Horned Frog pitching staff, always good, but even better tonight with Luken Baker on the mound. He struggled a tad at times, but not one of his sharpest outings. But again, put together a nice quality outing and a big win for TCU.
Handed it off to freshman Sean Weimer, who went the final 3, allowing only 1 hit, 1 walk, striking out 2. Oklahoma's hot hitters coming in completely shackled. Sheldon Noyes 0 for 3. Hunter Haley, National Player of the Week, 0 for 4. That was a big early key for Luken Baker, was keeping them under control.
Absolutely. He pitched those guys really well, and that really did shut the OU scoring chances down. There were multiple times when OU could have put together a nice inning, and Baker pitched well when he had to.
So TCU takes game 1 of the 3-game series. And trying to keep pace to back of the loss column of Big 12 leading Texas Tech, which will visit here in 2 weeks. They got a win they needed to start this series, and they won it in a big way. Now this is Dave Barnett for Pat Combs saying so long from Fort Worth. Remember to join us Friday, April 29th, 9 Eastern for our next Big 12 baseball telecast on FS1 as TCU will host conference-leading Texas Tech. Coming up next on FS1, UFC Tonight. You've been watching Big 12 Baseball on FS1.